and we are live, and we have got a fantastic episode for you today about the thing that is the hottest new thing for writers. It's also like it has stood the test of time. This is not something brand new, but rather we have now seen that it really does help writers, and we want everybody to get on board who is interested in this thing. When I first got started it as on YouTube as a writer in 2020, like so many people, what I kept hearing so much from my fellow author tubers was, "Oh, well, you got to have a newsletter. You got to have a newsletter." And I'm like, why? Also, who is still reading that? I don't know that my newsletters really should be based on what grandmas read. And yet, they were not wrong. Because the thing that is really propelling indie writers forward is they're keeping in touch with their readership through at least something that appears to be like a newsletter delivered to email primarily. So that's what we're going to talk about. And the platform that everybody's doing it on is Substack. So today we're going to talk about the good of Substack, both like what's happening in the general sense, as well as the good that we and my lovely panel have seen happen with Substack. We're going to talk about the bad with Substack, including, how would you put it, Charlie? Like Nazis will fix themselves, that the corporate seems to think.
Libertarians don't understand reality in platforms.
Yes, thank you. That you have perfectly surmised the problem. And then we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of Substack. If you stick around for the third hour, we will literally hold your hand and walk you through the basics of setting up Substack and what you need to know in order to be prepared. Spoiler, you're going to need some visuals. You're going I use Canva, but you use whatever, and whatever works for you. But you're going to need some visuals to get your Substack initially started, because in order to set it up, Substack wants you to have pictures. And nobody warned me about that when I got started. So that's what we're going to talk about. And then to help me is our fantabulous panel. Ta-da! Look at these. Charlie and Megan and Tom. Spoiler, everybody's doing better on Substack than me. So thankfully, they have shown up to help. Thank you. Hi, Cool Gamer.
Hello.
Hello, Mercer Too Good. Hello, Paget Farmer. Let's see, Paget says, I always think that about newsletters, but I guess I'm wrong too. Who has time? Literally, I don't have time. And yet, yes, the newsletters today are like zines in the 90s. Yes, pretty much. If you want to develop a readership, you want to keep in touch, it is all about the newsletters. But they are, instead of being mailed to your house like it's 1984, they are sent to you email address, and people like the convenience of that. No longer do they go to blogs for information, because ain't nobody got time for that. So this is the convenience of a newsletter. I mean, I really thought, even when I was a kid, that newsletters were so cheesy. Like, Mom, nobody cares what our family did this year. Mom's like, no, our relatives care. Hello, Emma. Hey, Spence.
Hello.
And Mom's like, people do care about what our family's been up to this past year. I'm like, but you've talked to the relatives you like, so why do you need it? She's like, they want it. They want to put it on the refrigerator, which I did not buy even back then. Hello, CB. As a kid, I'm like, nobody's putting that on the refrigerator. I've never seen a newsletter on any other refrigerator in my entire life, going to visit all these other children's family homes. And no one ever had some stranger, some other family member's newsletter on their refrigerator for us all to ponder their Christmas newsletter.
So I feel partly responsible for all of this, because my journey on Substack, which then spread out like a plague amongst those that I talked to, started with my frustration with Kindle Vella. I really wanted a place where I could serialize my fiction, develop an audience, and have a platform that wasn't there. And I looked all over the place. I looked at Royal Road. I thought about Wattpad for a second and remembered how bad the security is and went, nope, and moved on, realized I'm not a romance writer like that, so Radish is not for me, and checked out a lot of different platforms. And what drew me to Substack was the tool set that it offered, where it has really, it became a place where I could kind of replace both my Patreon and my Coffee and have people support me directly through this platform. I could offer things that would actually be able to fulfill, because that's really hard for me with my ADHD to remember to go back and give the things that I promised. And so, like, for example, if you subscribe to my Substack, what you get is early access to the stories that are on there. You're going to get them 1 to 2 weeks before everyone else gets them. So if you want that early access, if you really want to see the story now, you can get in there. I'm also going to be offering some other things going forward, but it's stuff that I can handle through their system, and it's all in one place. The payment is processed there. I can schedule the post and mark how it will actually work for both paid and unpaid subscriber accounts. And it was an all-in-one shop. It also had one other benefit that made me fall in love with it. It automatically generated an image for Instagram. This probably should not have been the selling point that got me in there, but I am bad at promoting my content, especially because, so I write an essay or I write a story. Oh God, what is the Instagram picture for this? Because I've learned over time, at least for me, Twitter, even before Elon Musk, was not moving people to click links and actually check out the stuff that I was doing. Post Elon Musk, yeah, no, it's no. And Instagram was a place where when I would share a story on Instagram, people would go click the link in my bio and check it out. And the fact that for every post that you make, it auto generates media assets for you based on that post, using the images that you used in the post, that to me was the selling point, because I have a way of connecting to my audience. I have a way of monetizing my content that I feel is natural and makes sense to me. And hey, you're taking care of one of the biggest headaches I have in promotion, all in one platform. And the setup, having set up a lot of websites in the past, is far easier than any of the other places that I've worked. The interface was nice and felt comfortable to work in, but it also gave me something that a lot of other newsletter services did not, and that's a website. Because you're not just getting a newsletter that's going out to the ether. This isn't MailChimp or something like that, where you're just, and please, dear God, even if you don't switch to Substack, if you're using Constant Contact, leave them. All of the email services automatically spam all emails that come from Constant Contact.
That was one of my concerns with, like, also, it wasn't just Constant Contact. Now MailChimp as well is harvesting the email addresses used. And several other email newsletter services are now harvesting the email links, or the emails, the accounts that people sign up for they're now harvesting that. And that was one of the reasons I had pulled away from newsletters, because I used to actually do newsletters. There's not a decade in my life I haven't actually sent out newsletters for work, or because my mother forced me. My mother, pretty much in the 90s, forced me to become her newsletter publisher when I was a teenager. But also I did it when I was a teacher. I did it as a librarian, as a public librarian. I did it in a lot of other jobs, and also at the video store. When we ran the video store, I had a monthly newsletter for several years. And so there's never been a time in my life where I wasn't doing newsletters, but to find out that these email services are harvesting the emails and then using it to spam people, it just was so cringy. I actually stopped doing newsletters in the mid-20 teens because of it.
And they really are focused on making sure that you have the tools that you need. And that is something that I've really enjoyed about them. In the short time that I've been using them. They have rolled out a podcast feature that has actually gotten me not only podcasting more, but has been getting me more listens on my podcast than other services that I have done in the past. And they now allow for you to upload video direct, so that if you want to do subscriber only videos, you don't have to, like with Patreon, have a paid Vimeo account to keep that private, or put it up as an unlisted video on YouTube and hope people don't share the video, because this is a paid perk, right? You want it to stay exclusive, and you don't want the people that are paying you to feel like you're ripping them off. It's just built into the way that they have their system set up. And watching them be very writer forward, they make money based off of us making money. So they take a small percentage, which I must say is less than Patreon takes. Patreon has been constantly increasing the percentage that they take of our money as time has gone on. Coffee is still the best deal. If you want the money to go directly to you, a Coffee Gold account is probably your best bet with that, but they take less than Patreon does. And all of that together has done things that I have not seen in a while. I stopped blogging because people stopped commenting on the blogs. I started using them. One, I saw an open rate that, compared to my old MailChimp mailing list, shocked and horrified me. Right? I'm getting 30 to 60% of the people that I'm emailing opening the email.
Yeah.
And that is a nightmarishly high. Like, I don't know how
heard of in the email world for just number of opens, like the stats on all emails, even emails where it's like it's something you sign up for and you're getting a free thing if you just open the email and click the button. It'll take you to the place where you fill out and they'll mail you a free thing. And still, you're looking at, even for that kind of email, only a 10 to 15% open rate. And from what I know of everybody who's using their Substack, their open rate is more like 25 to 75%.
Yeah, my crap emails, my newsletters that go out, I'm getting like 25% open. And compared to anything else I've ever used, I would be jumping for joy at 25%.
My last post had a 36% open rate, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, what are my stats?
And the last feature that I feel like, before we get into other things that needs to be shouted out here, is they handle marketing for you. So once you set up monetization, you can write some boilerplate emails for you, and they will periodically, to your top readers, be like, hey, did you know you could support this person by giving them the money? Because I know I am very bad at being like, hey, would you like to give me the money so I can continue to be making the things? I'm bad at doing that. I don't like doing that. And that is just a thing that you can toggle on, and they will handle that side of the marketing for you. You can also set up recommendations for your friends and others, that people that subscribe to your mailing list will periodically get emails saying, hey, if you really like this person, have you thought about this person? And you can write a blurb for them that explaining why you think that person should be read, and do that promotion for your friends, again, organically, and in a way that isn't distracting you from getting the work done that you need to do. All of that came together for me as a package of like, okay, this is where I want to be. And I've actually spent the money, because the only thing that you can pay them for, they have a $50 one-time fee to set up a domain name. So if you have your own domain name, like I've used projectshadow.com since 1999, that's been my website address. And so I gave them the $50 to set that up. And I don't feel bad about it, because a lot of places charge a recurring fee. Like if you set up a website, they will have a recurring fee, especially if you do not get your domain from them. Or if you do get your domain from them, they own your domain, and when you leave, they will not let you take it with you. And in a business that's so heavily built on branding, if you get people used to going to, like for me, projectshadow.com, and I've noticed people that used to read my blog back in the day start not only commenting again, but comments are really great in here because they can just reply to the email, and Substack generates an auto-generated email for you. So like my Project Shadow Substack, it's projectshadow@substack.com. And so they can just hit reply and reply to you, or they can go to the website and leave a comment. There's so many ways that they can engage with you. And all of these people that I have not heard from for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years have started replying to these emails. Like, I thought you died. You just stopped putting stuff out for such a long time. I didn't know that I was missing it. Like, it was amazing to reconnect with a lot of those old readers that I thought I had completely lost, and really get back into the swing of things. It's been a really, for the most part for me, positive experience moving over there. And I feel like the easiest way to say this for a lot of writers who have been looking at different platforms, my experience with Substack is the experience that Medium has always promised but never delivered.
Yeah.
I have made more money off of my serialized fiction on Substack than I did when it was on Kindle Vella. And oddly enough, it was people hunting down my coffee and giving me one-time donations, which my coffee isn't even linked from my Substack page. Like, they either listened to the podcast version of it or read it and hunted me down and just sent me lump sums to my account. And I'm saying, like, I have not made as much off of it as many people. You know what I'm saying? Like, more people spent the pennies to buy the tokens and whatnot over on Kindle Vella. But I've had people just be like, I really, really enjoyed this. I want to make sure you're doing stuff. Here's $50.
Mm-hmm.
And that is shocking as a writer anytime that happens. But that's the opportunities you as a writer need to be making available, because a fan of yours will support you as long as you have a support system for them to tie into. So the tricky thing is making them into fans in the first place and giving them a place where they can feel comfortable giving you their support. And that's what I've been finding over on Substack, and I couldn't be more thrilled. Also, the growth. Watching number go up always makes me feel good.
I've just been really surprised to see how much the whole newsletter thing has taken off, and that people are interested in this again.
Everything old is new again. I did look up my stats, and since essentially my newsletter, my Substack is more like a magazine in that there's several different diverse sections. So there's some fiction. There's two very different, mostly different kinds of fiction stories going. There's Tom's news article digest, where his news bites, and then there's my mostly nonfiction and poetry, as well as my research sections. So ours is more like a magazine that we share. And looking at my open stats, my open rates, they hover between 33% and 48% open, which is the best stats I've ever had open rates of any newsletter I've ever published in any platform ever, y'all. And these are all people who willingly signed up, with a few exceptions of my friends that I did not give an option. Look, if you've known me for more than 10 years, I optioned you in without asking. So, just that. Like, if I have a key to your house, I optioned you in. It's just, friendship with me is suffocating. So that doesn't mean they have to open the emails. It just means I put their email address in. But my point simply being, that's a really good open rate because, like, when I worked at the public library system, everyone had to sign up to get into the newsletter that I produced because I did it just for this one monthly program we did of game night, which was an after hours free program. Hi, Heather. That we did at the public library system in this one county where I worked in South Mississippi. And the open rate, even for that, for people who literally wanted to know when is game night and, what's everybody bringing? And it was still, the open rate was in the 20s month to month. And that was if I gave them a whole week to open them. And by the way, y'all, I included pun jokes in that newsletter just to like entice people to open the newsletter so they could tell their children silly jokes on car rides. And still, our open rate probably hovered between 22 and 25% any given month. Kat said, thought I'd share some of my stats considering I'm terrible at posting and still get opens. Latest post stats, email 44%, direct 33%, Substack app 11%, and Twitter 11%. Yeah.
Like even for Twitter, those are amazing stats.
Those are great numbers. Up until when Twitter blocked the Substack links.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was getting a surprising number of views from Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Same.
It was nice, and then they ruined it.
Jordan, just to respond, I don't, like Megan said, I don't know what the usability side for Substack is for the people who have issues with vision. I do know that they are very big in the onboarding, encouraging people to create audio versions of all of their posts so that they are accessible to anyone who wants to read them. And I know for myself, I have been creating audio versions of all of the posts that I've been doing for that, and they make that very easy to do. And the audio, when it's embedded, is very large with a very large play button to make it easy to find. So I know that they are at least trying to make us make accessible content. I don't know how good they are at accessible use cases. But I just wanted to say that and hope that answers some of your question.
Jordan is over on Megan's right now. Hence the question for a few people who might be confused. We are streaming a couple now. Glory is on YouTube at Glory Writes the Blues.
Yes. Our YouTube channel name is Glory Writes the Blues. Charlie, I believe, is also streaming on YouTube, and Megan is streaming on her YouTube as well, streaming the same podcast on 3 different. And also, I just would like to point out what I was doing because I didn't think about it before, and ADHD is real. I have now in the doobly-doos below on the Glory Writes the Blues YouTube channel, there is a link to all of our AuthorTuber Substacks that I am aware of. Does that mean that's all of them? No, of course not. I am only one librarian. But if you know of others that I forgot or I am not aware of, because not aware of is definitely a real thing, but everybody I'm aware of, I put the link down below. And it is now there for anyone to link through or later. If there's any that we've forgotten or that we're not aware of, please let us know. If you are a mod on my channel, you can post links. If you are not a mod, you can DM me pretty much anywhere. But also, spoiler, my email address is glorywritestheblues@gmail.com. So you can also email me and we will update that. Even if you are watching this later after broadcast, we will continue to update that information because look, this is the community. This is
also, and to that end,
writers need writers to like know that we're not all insane like our regular family and friends think we are.
And also as well for people like Jordan, and a few of our other friends who aren't here right now, who have, different needs. If there's anything we can do to make it easier, let us know. We want to be as accessible as possible, but we're not always sure. And we're not always familiar.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like if you know of anybody in the AuthorTube community that has Substacks that I did not list, please let us know. Because we're not here to exclude people, except Nazis. Straight up. Nazis, transphobes are also not welcome. Queer phobes, look, I'm just saying, hateful people, hard pass. I have to deal with that in my real life. I live in South Mississippi. I am not interested in experiencing the hateful folks, the bigots online as well. That is why I am here at AuthorTube, is to like be among my people and be away from hateful people who just want to ruin everyone else's good times. So I just want to make that clear. Jordan Peterson will never be welcome here, ever.
I don't know if he allows us to yell and shame at him in a way that we can mute his mic and he just has to take it. Maybe.
Error. I am also a Shibari master in real life. And if Jordan Peterson wants to meet me in real life and experience what I can do with rote, that's cool. Especially if he signs a consent form. Especially cool. But as far as like some public dial-up, no, forget that. Absolutely not. We do not tolerate those who do not tolerate others. And that is really our overriding rule. So as long as you are here to tolerate everybody, we are here to welcome you into our open arms and say, hi, this is a safe space. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time and help each other up, because part of what I am personally doing to help leave the world better than I was born into is to encourage everyone to write, to share their own experiences, their own personal stories, because if you then write them and hopefully share them with others, then other people will be able to read them and not feel so alone in the world. I really do think people thinking that they're the only ones suffering in the world, or the way they're suffering is unique to them, is where people kind of turn hateful onto a lot of people. So if young people in particular can see you're suffering, you're not suffering alone. A lot of us have been there, and some of us have been there exactly the way you've been there. And we got through it, and here's how we did it. And also, when you're ready to get through it, come and find us. Come and find your group. We will welcome you with open arms. You do not need to suffer alone. Heather says, I only have a couple posts so far, but I started Substack pretty recently. Yes, Heather, I found you and I subscribed today as I was making the list. Haha, you thought you could just kind of, but no. Substack settled on you as soon as I started compiling this list of Substacks.
Real quick, though, what most people don't hear about much in the news, for whatever reason, they're not mentioning this, because to me, it's the craziest part. Twitter is down to around 100,000 users in the US at this point.
Total.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like actual living humans, not bots.
Yeah. That's why they are doing all this protectionist stuff, is because they are really dying. They are making Tumblr look like, a great idea.
And that's why Elon is buying Twitter Blue accounts for people so he can fluff the numbers up. And when I say buying, I mean probably having a programmer flip a switch, in a way that money can appear on a balance sheet. But yeah, it's...
I really like Paget's How to Create an Enemy Where Once There Was None, an autobiography by Elon Musk. I mean, boy, I love it. Mwah! No notes, Paget. Exactly.
If you are
exactly, CB, we share the same biology regardless of ideology. I absolutely agree.
I love the song Russians.
What?
The song, it's Russians.
Oh, yes.
It's the name.
So, yes, for all the new people here, we're so glad you're here and that you found us one way or another, or that the YouTube algorithm is like, hey, here's your people. Did you know? We're so glad you're here. and that hopefully you will also start thinking about sharing your writing. We want to know about it. We want to read you. But I promise you, there's plenty of just simply readers who absolutely want to read what you have to share, because even though the world has grown smaller because of the internet, people still feel alone and they feel unique in their suffering, and that is a problem. So we're here to uplift and encourage everybody, but also let's get into the bones of it, yo. So anyway,
So I feel like this is also a good thing to segue a little bit to something
Yeah.
else fun about Substack now, and that is if you're dropping Twitter, but you miss that feel of old, 2008, 2009 Twitter, go over to Substack Notes.
Yes.
It will feel very familiar.
Notes is such a good feature, and it's one of the things that, like, they have iterated so much since I started my Substack, which was like in November last year.
Yeah, November was when we started.
Yeah, it was like I haven't been there that long, and they've added so many features, and their turnaround has been really quick. And Notes really is, it's like if Twitter met Tumblr, but in a way that was fun. Because I have to say that in some ways, because it doesn't have I have blocked some very hateful people in Notes because is internet and hateful people will find you. But all in all, my experience there has been remarkably positive. I have met a lot of really interesting people. Right now, a lot of the people that are using it are fellow writers, but a lot of readers are starting to get in there and connect with people as well. They have a really interesting growth model, and I think we need to explain this up front for anybody who may be like, hey, I would like a Twitter, something that's Twitter but different and better. So the way that Substack works is you will not see everyone that is posting on Notes. So you will notice that when you log in, you will have 3 feeds. One says home, one says subscribed, and the other says subscriber. Now, this is really powerful if you're a writer, because the subscriber feed is only people that read your newsletter. So you can talk directly to your audience. You can see what your audience is saying and actually build community with the people that are currently reading you. And honestly, I figured when they turned that on, it would just be like Megan and Glory and, the people I know from AuthorTube, and was shocked to see how many other people were included in there that were already using Notes. And it's been great because I've been able to engage directly to my audience. So that's a huge benefit that I do not know any other platform that gives you that kind of a tool. Now, subscribed is literally all of the people that you've subscribed to. So it's a curated list of all of the people that you have subscribed to their newsletter, or you have there's a hidden behind a 3-dot button on the interface is show more from this person. They will show up in your subscribe. It means you want to see more from them on Notes, but not necessarily subscribe to their newsletter. The home is everyone that you've subscribed to, all of your subscribers, and everyone those people have interacted with and that have interacted with them. So as people are onboarding and getting to talk to people and engaging with people, that home feed is growing. But this is one of the tools that they are hoping will help keep people in a community that is more interesting to them, because you're not immediately being exposed to people that are diametrically opposed to everything that you believe in reality, because that is a problem on Substack that we'll be talking about in the next hour. But if you get there and you're like, I don't understand this Notes thing, there's nobody here. One, make sure you're subscribed to the AuthorTubers that you like, so you'll automatically see us and the people that we interact with in those other 2 tabs. But it's through engagement that your audience will grow. So the more you engage, the more people you will see, the more content that will be brought to you. And it's a really interesting way to do growth like this. And I'm not sure how much I love or hate it, but it is something I think they need to be much more explicit about in their onboarding, because I know I have had to explain that to quite a few people that were like, I don't understand, why don't I see anybody here? Is nobody using this? And I'm just like, my feed is constantly streaming, just constantly going. But I have made a very concerted effort to engage early and often. I schedule a couple hours a day in the morning, in the middle of the day, and in the evening to go in there and engage. And right now, especially for writers, first mover advantage is such an important thing on any platform. And Notes is a new social platform. If you can get in there now, start developing your audience now, start talking to people now, getting more people to follow you, getting more people to get in, as it grows, you will just naturally become one of the bigger accounts on the platform, because you were there at the beginning and had a bigger platform as more people are onboarding.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how network effects work on social media platforms like this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're curious about this at all, now is the time to jump in, even if you're not interested in doing your own newsletter over there yet, but to get involved in Notes, because like I said, it is continuing to grow. It is starting to get a lot of buzz in the tech journalism world, which is starting to bring more and more people in. And so the sooner you're in there,
Yes,
building up your clout and your notoriety, the more likely it is that you will actually be able to build a following there. The easier it will be for you to build a following there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Definitely.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
my biggest
remember-
problem right now is remembering to check Notes every day, because it takes me a while to build a habit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the interactions really do help improve your how much you are seen. So you're very much rewarded for interacting with more people, even if you're just like saying congrats and that's it. Like, it's not about like quantity of what you are saying in each comment. It's just interact, just be a person.
And I do like the part where you're just seeing the people the people you follow are interacting with. Like it does, truly, I miss the old Twitter where, yeah, you're just seeing your little social groups interactions that you probably are also interested in, versus but what can we drive you emotionally insane by looking at and just doom scrolling?
And that's one of the reasons why I've had to block some people, because I am in a lot of activist circles. And so a lot of the activists that I follow are engaging with some of the more unsavory people on the platform. And thus, some of the more unsavory people on the platform are starting to see me, and I'm starting to see them. And so I've had to block people. If you're not engaging in that, it may be more difficult for you to see those kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, if you engage with us, you'll then see more as we engage with others. You will see that as well.
Yes. Because a
Um,
couple of people have asked, and if I have blocked someone, they won't be shared onto your homepage.
mhm.
So even though they have interacted with me, because I blocked them, which is why I'm blocking, not muting, because you can mute people on the platform. But I'm blocking so that, because I actually got called an anti-Semitic slur on this platform, which is really funny in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Assumptions that people make. But now I don't have to worry about friends of mine having to come into contact with them, because by blocking them, they're not going to be shared. Yeah, they're not going to be shared on. So, and we'll again be talking about that a lot more in the next hour. But I have seen so much growth on my own personal Substack since I've started doing this. And I have 2 Substacks on there. And what's interesting is seeing the people that are subscribing to one or the other or both, because they're very clearly explained on there. See our Chat GPT episode for how to do that, because I'm terrible at describing my own work, and had Chat GPT help me with that. And I saw a huge spike in my subscriber rate when I did that initially. So see our episode on that one that we did last week.
Yep, we did one on ChatGPT and AI in general.
But yeah, it's Notes Notes is an amazing place, and it's been so much fun to have like deep I've had, when Tom says it's like Twitter back in the good old days, I've had some deep conversations with people that about topics that are really meaningful to me on the internet in a way that I thought was impossible in today's climate. Like with all of the Twitteriness of it. And I've missed that, and I'm so grateful to have that again.
Figment, that's for next hour.
Yeah, we have a lot of thoughts on that, and we decided to...
A lot of thoughts.
But it's
devote a whole segment to it.
But as we've learned about humans in the last several years of study, you got to start positive. So here's all the fun, what works, why we enjoy it.
Why
we want to do an episode about this.
So Charlie was the one who introduced Substack to me and to, Megan.
And to me.
Yeah, Megan and Laura and Carrie. Like, so our little, so like the people who get together for Sunday Fun Day. Like on Discord. So several days a week, we get together on Charlie and my Discord. And like we have separate Discord, but we get together. So today, after this show, at 9 p.m. Eastern, so 8 p.m. Central, we will get together on my Discord, Unicorn Council Discord, mine and Tom's. And we get together and we hang out in the clubhouse. And some people work on writing or work on housekeeping things. Others play games. We play games. And we chat the whole time. Like it's like the study hall without the teacher there to make sure everybody's quiet, essentially. Or if you are a 90s baby, it's like what hanging out used to be when people did it in real life. I know, y'all. You've only heard legends.
Why you gotta come for us, Claire?
Do you remember you want to come over to my house and hang out? And it's like, cool. Do you have soda or should I bring soda? My mom just bought a couple flats of soda. Oh, yeah. Bring a 6-pack of something.
No, Glory, if you're going to say it, say the line. My mom just got a flat of Shasta.
Shasta, yes. My mom just got a flat of Shasta. What do you want me to bring? And it's like, bring the orange. Oh, we all want the red 40. Yes. Oh, Shasta rule the 80s and 90s hangout. Yep. Yes. So that's essentially what we do. And in the process of Sunday Fun Day and then Monday and my Discord and stuff and hanging out in the clubhouse, Charlie told us all about Substack. And so we all were like, well, if we're doing this, let's do it. And we all like literally within 2 days? 2 days
yeah.
Started Substack. And at first I thought this is going to be like every other newsletter. It's going to be awkward and nobody's going to read my stuff. And I don't know why I'm doing it, but everybody's doing it. So I'm going to do it. And then the coolest thing actually happened over the following 2-3 months. Everybody actually started writing in their Substacks and publishing things. And I saw why people love newsletters. These are interesting essays. This is my week breakdown of everything I did of note that I accomplished, and I really found it interesting to read the personal thoughts of my friends, of my writer friends. If anything, it was so fascinating to see. I already connected with these people, and yet here is just a reinforcement of how these really are my people because we have such similar thoughts. And we value the same things like, making dinners and like cleaning and how like, yeah, I finally scrubbed the toilet. I deserve a medal. And then Substack has an option. You can click a heart. You can also comment on their stuff on that particular publication. And it was so cool to like see the community kind of growing, if anything, and also reinforcing of, yeah, just keep writing. We love it. Because all of us essentially had the same thought at some point in the last 3 or 4 months of, y'all aren't really reading this, right? I should stop publishing this. It's like, what are you talking about? How dare you take away this thing I look forward to that I try to read every time you publish, at least when I remember it, to have a chance. Don't stop publishing. I want to read what more you are writing. And that is where I really started seeing the value of it's not just us, it's other readers who also want to read this. They want to see their own lives reflected. And also, again, knowing, oh, I'm not alone in this. There's other people having thoughts. Also, talking about the articles before we write them has been fun.
Yes.
Of like, y'all, what am I going to write about today? What am I going to try to come up with more subjects? That just says this has inspired me to go on Substack more often. I generally go on when I see a writer online who I subscribe to, and then I think, oh crap, I should check Substack. I do find the Substack app actually works out pretty well for me, and truthfully, that is more how I've recently, especially with the advent of notes, that's really more of how I've been using my Substack is through the app rather than email or browser. I just said it sounds like Substack could potentially bring back the joy of live journal. Yes, but still your heart. Before the Russians took over.
Yeah,
He said that he may be posting my writing group homework on Substack as part of the newsletter. Oh, very cool.
Ooh, I like that idea.
I like it. Yes, definitely a pre-Russian live journal. Yes, it is. Yes, Tom's there too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Substack making that very thing, the whole, because both Figment and Padgett brought up. Because I think the important thing to think here is while this does allow for email delivery, it is almost a misnomer to think of it as a newsletter in the way that we have come to think about newsletters. This is like old school blogging. Mm-hmm. There are people over there that are writing just poetry, and some of the most beautiful poetry that I've seen. I'm serializing fiction. Carrie is serializing fiction, and Gloria and Tom are serializing fiction over there, as well as writing essays. Mm-hmm. Scout is writing about her experimentation with magic over there in very frank and public ways. There's so many people it's a place where people are sharing their experience and finding other people interested in those ideas and experiences. It's very much like live journal, but with an odd polish to it, because a lot of the people that are over there right now are professional writers that are writing these. So it's like live journal if it were spelling and grammar checked, and people actually outlined their posts first. I'm not trying to take away from the fun of it. It's a much more classy live journal in a way, because people are putting thought into what they're doing. It's not just random, it is a lot of random posts, but you can see how people are taking the time and making sure that their spelling and grammar is correct. You can see that there's outlining going on and that there's a thought process behind it. And so, yeah, it is bringing back a lot of that joy. And that's something that I think is really important to be thinking about when going to Substack, because I don't know that a newsletter, the way that if you buy a book like How to Become a Great Writer through having a newsletter, it's just going to tell you, talk about your book, just talk about your book, just promote your book. I don't think that would work at all on a platform like this. The posts that I have that are doing the best are a combination of some of my personal struggles as a trans person living in Missouri, where it is now illegal to transition. And they actually have a hotline now, a reported trans hotline.
Did you hear about people flooding the snitch forum with scripts from the Bee movie? Fantastic.
But also, it's not
the love of a woman and a bee.
But it's not just those topical posts. My actual serialized stories are also in my top read. So people are there looking for interesting stuff to engage with. I mean, and that's the thing is, if you're interested in a topic, as long as you share that enthusiasm in what you're writing, the way you write it up, there will be people that will read it.
I just also wanted to bring up and mention, I've seen this with several other creatives I follow who also do more visual arts. And one I follow, she does some very different visuals, including she's also a webcomic artist, as well as she, does her own photography and a lot of different things. But, the last year she hasn't been able to as much because she got pregnant. She has a new baby. She got married. And she's been surprised at how many people are still following her. And it's like, we follow because we like your style of expression on here.
Mm-hmm. Like,
It's
Spence, don't you
not
dare take
specific.
away these updates of how you're keeping everyone in your household alive. I live for them.
Yes.
I love them. I love to read. Like, don't you dare take it away.
Yeah.
When I need
I agree.
dopamine, I go read that, and I feel it. Like, oh yes, I can go back and I can keep cleaning and work on and rehabilitate my body. Yes. Yes, Sako has a Substack as well, and I found it. Yes, please don't take away this. We need, like, whatever your minutia that you have to write about. Like, the only thing I have to write about is what I've been write about that.
That's really
Absolutely.
like series 1, if only people on fanfiction.net were as good about taking some pride in their work, good spelling, grammar, etc. You know, not quite, but kind of got taking pride in our written work, you know, being into us at school. Like, yeah, like, if it's something you enjoy and you are genuinely enjoying what you're putting out, other people will enjoy it with you.
Mm-hmm.
People kind of notice your enjoyment level in your creative outputs. And that's what they're there for. That's why, like, that's what we talk about, you know, going to watch bad B movies, because the bad B movies people love to watch are the ones where they enjoyed making it.
Yes.
They knew they didn't have the resources, but they were going to do their best anyway. And they knew the story was silly. It didn't matter. It was fun. And that's why we watch it, because we can enjoy it with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're doing again on, like, Substack.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure it's readable.
Yeah.
A little bit of grammar goes a long way.
Of that, this is what I have to share. I hope y'all don't hate it. And I'm going to tell you, personally, nobody's hated anything I've done yet, which that's been kind of shocking, because I always get, like, this low level from people of, like, Glory, why do you exist? And I have not experienced that on Substack, which is kind of fascinating, but, you know, I'm not complaining about it. But, like, yeah, I have the weirdest things to share. If you go look at my Substack, you will see that Tom and I've got some, there's not an overriding theme other than the thinks.
Yeah.
That's the theme. But yes, Paget says, this is crazy. I totally came to this live on a whim because the words are, like, coming today and they're excellent, you know. And now I'm like, hey, I can really make a Substack. This is achievable. It is achievable, Paget. And I expect to get a link from you soon. Because we want to subscribe and we want to keep up on whatever you want to share, whatever you want to publish. Like, y'all, sometimes it's like, here's my experimental recipe and some pictures of pie that I made.
So I think that
people like it. Okay.
If I may be allowed to torture an analogy even further,
Please,
this live journal analogy really works well, because Notes does not have a character limit. At least not that I have seen anybody actually hit. I have read very long notes on there. It truncates them, so you get so many characters to display, and then there's a more link that slides the shelf open so you can see the rest of the post. So you don't have to worry about seeing these, like, giant posts and notes. But the very live journal stuff is happening in Notes, where people are giving their ephemeral ideas. I don't think that this is totally worth taking the time and energy to make a post on this over on the stack on my stack, but I want to say something about this. That's all happening over on Notes, and it really does have that live journal, like, you know, energy to it, where people are posting, responding, these long threads of back and forth, commenting all throughout it. And then when they have something that they want to be more thoughtful on or more deliberate with, that's going over onto their Substack itself and out on their newsletter. And what's really fun is it gives you an avenue to do both of these things in one place. Because if you like my weird random stray thoughts, you may actually be interested in the stuff I spend more time actually thinking about, and vice versa.
I have also noticed that there is an acceptable amount of puppy and cat content on the site. So
yes,
like,
I live for on Notes.
It's perfect. Because you've
day.
got the written content, the thoughtful
Mhm.
stuff. You've got people's recommendation. I discovered this Italian woman who writes recipes. Gloria, you should definitely check out my Substack, the restacked things that I said,
Okay.
because she she has a recipe that looks really good that I want you to try before I
Okay.
try it.
Okay, cool. Absolutely. Yeah, this past week I haven't really been on notes because of meeting with the Dorsets in real life, and that is like Insane Adventure slideshow coming soon, y'all. Also, by the way, hi BA. Hello. Let's see.
CB,
Sorry.
sorry.
Paget says, I'm high key excited that the whole live journal left in my heart circa 2007. When I stopped using it, might now be filled by Substack. I'm verklempt. Absolutely, honey. Get on there. CB says, you want to read this one, Megan?
Sure. I guess the thing I'm a little wary of with Substack is that I have a real difficulty with getting people to review my work on the fanfic sites. So I'm wondering if people will even bother reading my stuff on Substack. I would love to read your stuff on Substack, CB.
No, like CB, this is legitimate conversation writers.
Yeah, this is
honestly should be having about, hi, I'm feeling like maybe I'm not sure if people would read my stuff. What do y'all think? Like, that's a legitimate writer concern.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what I would call self-serving at all in writer world, which is where we are here. This is the writer's safe space for us to share all of our deep, dark, anxious thoughts. Because we got to get it out somehow. It is better to get it out with people who are also like, me too. Rather than, your regular family and friends that are like, I don't know why you're so anxious all the time. It's like, because I just need readers.
And CB, I have wandered into the sci-fi writers side of Substack recently, where I'm seeing like writers that I'm like shocked are replying to my comments that are like Hugo Award-winning writers that I'm like, oh my goodness, you've written such amazing books, and they're sharing the same concerns and issues that we have. And these are people that would be considered the most professional, successful people in our industry. They are traditionally published. They got that book contract. They've won the awards and the accolades, and they have all of that. But this is just what it is to be a writer. That insecurity is just something that we have, unless, I'm not going to say, well, I am, unless we're Harlan Ellison. Like Harlan Ellison, I think, is the only writer that never suffered from self-doubt a day in his life.
Angriest man in fiction. Like,
yeah.
Damn.
But versus, and to some degree, it might actually be easier on Substack because fan fiction came with a bunch of baggage.
Yes.
When it started, versus even if what you're writing on Substack is fan fiction, it's people are not going into Substack with the same mental baggage.
Well, I know Carrie has done the fan fiction in her Substack, and she's been having some success with that. So I would seriously look into starting up a Substack, CB, because I would definitely really enjoy reading your stuff. And I would really like to not have to go on to like fanfiction.net or the other sites, because I don't know how to work them. They're not very user friendly for someone new to it. So getting it straight to my email is like,
the convenience of that cannot be beat. It's true.
Yeah, or like sent to the app. Like I can check my phone and read it.
And for people like me who were addicted to Google Reader back in the day, it's nice to have that experience back, because one, you not only get all the people you subscribe to on Substack, you can actually just add RSS feeds in there for people that are not on Substack, so that when you're going through your inbox in there, you can read all of those posts from other places as well. And it really has become my one-stop.
I also like that, at least in the Substack app, it'll tell you how long each read is. And so, like...
And whether or not you've read it, because I totally forget.
Oh my gosh, I know. I have like...
It does that
like, ooh, squirrel, so it's really nice when I know, okay, well, I've got 5 minutes. Let me find something in my list that I haven't read that's approximately 5 minutes long, versus I don't want to get into a 30-minute read when I only have 5 minutes because I'm, juggling something else because of course I'm doing too many things at once. I have ADHD, y'all. So I do like that. As I said, the app is really growing on me personally, but yeah, like I do find I'm reading more Substack articles than I used to. And I've known about Substack for years. But I think like it's just a sort of a different culture there. It's
Yeah.
so far, it is very much a reader positive culture. And because you're not leaving the platform to read their articles, it's also not, oh, I have to link and then link back or backspace back. It's I guess it's just more user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much reader conducive to doing this thing, plus occasionally chatting about things you read, because it's got a Twitter-like notes section feed that runs as well, with occasional cat and puppy feeds. And also, I wanted to point out Megan's lovely memes, and other people are starting to meme on there too.
Yep.
But it's like reader and writer memes, so I'm not mad about it. It's great.
And I found this amazing Irish poet because of a picture of her cat. She responded on a "Where are my kitties at?" post, because that's another thing on Substack. If you're afraid to share your animal pictures, I don't know a day that's gone by that I haven't seen like 5 or 6, like where the puppers at or where the kitties at, like what's going on, where are my animal pictures, and then a long thread of them that grows out of there. And she had the cutest cat, and when I moused over, it gives you their little bio that you write on there, and I was like, oh, you're a poet? And I just went over, looked at the poems that she writes. I was like, oh. And so, you know, like discovery is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This feels like the early internet in this weird late stage of the internet that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It has a community feel. It's nice. I have been having a good time. So on that note, we're going to take a short break, a little bio break, if you will. And when we come back, the dark side of Substack. But, you know, don't worry. We're still going to have a good time. So we will see y'all in just a few minutes. I would like to take this moment, though, to say, is it snack time?
Definitely.
It may be snack time. And do you have something to drink? We are a hydrate or dihydrate community. And we very much encourage the liquid consumption. Your brain literally needs liquid to function, y'all. So just think about maybe in this break, checking in with your bladder, getting something to refill it, to keep the cycle never ending. All right, there, I'm done. See y'all in a few minutes. It's Ferris Bueller my way back. Hey, everybody.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, Jen. How did everybody do?
Well, Eva is stress testing her Wi-Fi and computer, which I find hilarious and enjoyable.
Ooh,
She's trying to have all three
Wi-Fi.
versions of the stream up.
The Wi-Fi is nearly revolted. Oh dear. I made a turkey, pepperoni, and cheddar sandwich on my Too Tired Challah recipe. Bread.
Brian is preparing a salad with some of Tom's smoked beef.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
What dressing is he going to use?
We're from Missouri. What do you think?
Ranch?
Because he hasn't gotten me that ginger sesame dressing from the trade show yet.
Yeah, I saw it. What was it? Tom said it's a 2-gallon container.
Yeah.
That is a lot to buy at once of dressing.
Look, I told him we sell salads at the restaurant. He can just get it for the restaurant and keep bringing it home for me, and I will use it. But if they use it too, it's fine. But I need it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh no, Eva.
What's
You have come in as we are about to talk about here's the problems.
She knows what she did. She's like, wait a minute. Someone's about to spill tea. I must be on the stream.
yes.
Tea will be spilled.
Sip, sip. Yes, I see. Heather replied to my note. Hi. All right, focus, Glory. Okay.
Focus? What's that?
It's something I try for. Just fleeting moments. I'm just going to be honest. Anyhow, and Spence did stuff. Very nice.
So, to intro into the darkness, Substack's CEO, Chris Best, did an interview, I believe it was with The Verge, where he was asked a bunch of questions that you would think he would have been prepared for in advance. They were not hard questions. They were not gotcha questions. They were not unexpected questions.
They were you have a social media platform or you've just developed one. It's the set of questions that everyone with a social media platform gets asked now, because these are the same problems that keep coming up on all social media platforms. Bigots.
And so after he was asked the question of, so how are you going to be doing moderation on your new social media platform Notes? I just want to know what catty person in the editing bay went, we're going to leave in the silence.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there still would have been controversy if they had edited the silence out because his answer was not good. But the fact that there is this pause, this awkward, oh, I didn't think you would ask me that. How am I going to answer this pause? That just makes it so much worse. So his answer in brief was basically, I don't know, I'm a libertarian and the marketplace of ideas will sort out the bad ideas. That's why we created a block button. No.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Maybe no. And it has been interesting to watch them. Well, I will not say backpedal. They have not specifically backpedaled on what he has said yet. Not that I've seen anywhere. But they sent a couple of their other people out very quickly to do damage control for this and just be like, well, it's a new platform. We need to see how people are using it. We will be iterating quickly. We will figure out what the community needs. And then, of course, immediately following that, so they are going to have content moderation but we do believe that a robust public discourse is the sanitizer that we need to remove bad ideas from the public forum. Which does appear to be, at this point at least, their party line on this. This very libertarian idea that you can let Nazis speak and it's fine. And by the way, I'm not being hyperbolic with this. There are literal neo-Nazis on this platform that are posting swastikas and like happy birthday Hitler posts and all of that kind of a thing. So I know that term gets used hyperbolically by a lot of people.
I mean, it is the internet.
Yeah, I am not being hyperbolic. There are in fact literal Nazis on this platform, and you have a responsibility when you have a social media platform like this to keep your user base safe. Because that to me is what they are not understanding here is, yes, there is a block button, but we have had things in the past like Kiwi Farms that came up where they would find somebody's social media and then figure out who they were, dox them, and bring actual peril to their real life. And there are a lot of Discord groups that do this. There are Discord groups dedicated to doing this for trans people, black people, I believe. Some have been found that are doing this specifically to Asian creators as well. All they do all day, every day is, so here are the ones that we need to target, and then rummaging around and finding out information so that they can be doxxed and harassed in their real life. These are things that do exist, and a block button or a reasonable discourse is not going to help in those situations. And this is like, look, I love free speech. I think free speech is a beautiful thing, but you cannot tolerate the intolerant, because toleration of intolerance is how you erode all of the safeties and securities, all of the good things that you could have in a platform. Because once you go to the bottom, once the bottom is the worst things that can be said and done to people are okay, you've lost. Like, they have already won. We've seen this with YouTube with the rise of the alt-right, when they took a very libertarian stance and let a lot of very horrible content persist on YouTube, including things that I don't even think I'm allowed to mention anymore because of the TOS. That they've swung so far in the other direction that I don't even think I'm allowed to say some of the stuff that they did. But let's just say they had videos of people being unalived by organizations that oppose all civil liberties for all people on this platform that they were just leaving up.
So, if anybody now or later needs to know what to say to explain this, it's called the paradox of tolerance. And if you've never read about it, I would like to recommend everybody at some point, maybe this month, maybe next month, set aside a time to read about the paradox of tolerance, so that you understand and that you are more educated than all those libertarians who think that they're so enlightened and they have no idea they are talking out of their backside. In the South, we say that they're shining their backside like a baboon. That is how we put it. So just so that, like, y'all have that talking point of, it's called the paradox of tolerance. Why we don't tolerate the intolerant. And really, the Wikipedia article does a fairly good job of going over it. But also, once you know it's called what Tom and I like to call the phrase that pays. Once you know the jingo for it, then when you Google it, you can find lots of really interesting essays about this all over, really talking about and breaking it down in so many different ways. And also, if anybody is interested in writing an essay about the paradox of tolerance, I am definitely available to offer cheerleading, editing service, anything you need, because the more we make this the point of discussion, the better we have a chance of the majority of humans understanding that you can't just say, well, I'm a moderate and I'm not for it, but I'm not going to ruin other people's free speech. Like, no, you're uneducated, and you're so uneducated you don't understand how you're uneducated. So let's talk about it so everybody understands what the issues are here. The problem with tolerating the intolerant is eventually it seizes control. The intolerance seizes control of the conversation and shift it to an us versus them, and you never want to be them. You never want to be left out in the cold. Therein lies the problem. The ignorance cannot be won with fact or logic while dealing with those that call you on the paradox of tolerance.
And on Substack itself, Chandra Hardy and Noah Berlatsky have been doing a lot and writing some very good articles on this, as well as holding people's fuel to the fire. It is unpleasant to see, but it makes me giggle when Chandra Hardy gets into this storm. I don't know what we're going to call it, a note storm, where she's just restacking some of the most awful things and adding all of the people at Substack. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what we're talking about. This right here. And just like, which I see as a public service because I can then hit block on all those people. But
I think I was just thinking about it, probably what you would call it, because it's, what do you call it when a whole stack of books, and I'm just like, it's called a fall. It's a fall of notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice one, Tom.
That's a good one. Because it is a huge problem. And also, there are some very unscrupulous people on there. As an out and proud trans person, I and someone else were tricked into a conversation with somebody who just had questions that then used our quotes out of context in an anti-trans diatribe on the platform. That is not what any of us said. And it wasn't just us. There was, I think, 5 or 6 of us that got in on that conversation, and then it got flipped around and turned into us saying the exact opposite of everything that we were saying. There are a lot of disingenuous people over there that are taking advantage of marginalized groups. And there has to be some kind of content moderation for that.
Mm-hmm.
If people do not feel safe on your platform, they're not going to use it. Now, I know you're probably sitting there going, but Charlie, earlier you were saying how much fun you're having over there. And I am. They tend to believe that the way that they are exposing you to other people and exposing other people to you is going to put up barriers between you and the content that you don't want to see. And while, yes, that can programmatically in some ways make some kind of sense, it doesn't get rid of the problem. The problem is there, and the people that are trolling on the site, the people that are looking to do maximum mischief,
and
people to attack.
And there's even evidence. I'm currently writing about this very topic, or I will be writing about this very topic for not this coming Substack post, but the one after. And there's evidence that just being exposed to toxic speech like hate speech can like raise your blood pressure and cause all sorts of health problems just from viewing it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you aren't the target of the post itself. It's even worse if you are the target of the post, but anyone who even views the post.
And again, though, that is, well, this is definitely part of the growing pains of any social media platform as it gets bigger and they realize, no, you really do have to moderate. There's no option around it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are not designing their algorithm for maximum emotional effect, which is usually the max emotion are negative emotions.
Right.
Even with these problems, it is still far less toxic than any other social media platform I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Even with, on any platform at this point, there will be those who are just trying to have mischief because they do not feel that they have any effect on this world, and they are, trying to find a reason to exist. Which
Again, they are suffering.
Lashing out of sadness.
They feel alone in their suffering, and misery not only wants company, it demands company.
No, he was like, the moderation issue is why the Indie Index did not have a review option. Because it's very easy to overtake a social media platform and use it for negative ends if with a large enough group effort. Hence social media. That you need to, Facebook spends a lot of money against its will on moderating. If you want to see how much it moderates, just like Twitter, set your area to being in Germany, and suddenly you'll see a lot of these posts disappear because they're not allowed to post that by law. They do know what's problematic. They just know that it isn't good for their bottom line. Versus the part I like about Substack, and the reason why I still have hope for it, even with these obvious problems we've already seen, is their model is they make money when you make money. And so as long as they have a lot of content creators, making money, it will be in their interest to continue with them. If they're doing something that doesn't support their content creators, they start losing money, it's in their interest to then moderate. It's not as much of like most social media where their product is just selling the customer to advertisers. This one, their product is to make you more marketable. And so they need to keep a platform that is more marketable. And that's why, yes, we are bringing up these problems. It's the second hour. But we do not think that these problems are insurmountable or is the obvious direction it's going to end up. Because they have different money motives than a lot of the other platforms to improve.
Like most other social media platforms, the product is us, the consumers, and specifically our emotional engagement. So they are incentivized on other social media platforms for us to feel a lot of umbrage, anger, strong negative emotions. They're incentivized for that. Versus on Substack, it's a different model. And that's, again, why we think there's still potential with Substack and why it is worth looking into and joining and, trying it out. Also, I will say, just using Substack the way they have it set up has really helped me rethink how I publish, what I share, the kind of what readers are looking for, and has really helped to try to bring me more out of my shell as a writer and more into sharing things that I don't necessarily, essentially are more experimental, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think there is still plenty of positive that far outweighs the negative. And also, let's be honest, for the most part, the negative we're talking about are potentialities. They are not, this is like now definitely policy
and like
the problem,
And as Charlie mentioned a little bit in the first hour, the way Even Notes is set up, you're only seeing what the people you follow are interacting with. So if the people, so most of what you're going to be seeing is the stuff people enjoy. If you're a very negative person interacting with very negative people, you will see very negative stuff in this. Like, it is a self-reinforcing system, but if you're just looking for fun and enjoyment, that's what the system is going to show you. Unlike a lot of other ones, it's not trying to route everyone down the negative path, which is something I do like, which is what we miss about the 2000s of LiveJournal and Twitter and several other ones, including Friendster, of stuff of...
How dare you come at me with these ancient dinosaurs?
They are all fun, and they leave you happier for having, gone on them. But, we need to know the troubles. We need to know what to look out for. Hence, Charlie also using some of their friends as just an easy way to figure out who's still on the block list. Who do I just not need to be interacting with? Because you're not going to help anything by interacting with trolls. Do not feed the trolls. Rule 1 of social media: do not feed the trolls.
It's so tempting. Pivot to puppy pictures. Pivot to kitty pictures.
And
Show me your parrots, whatever you got, but pivot to the adorbs. Give me all your baby hippos, rather than feeding the trolls. It's so tempting. I know. Bebo, yes.
GeoCities.
And the things I did on GeoCities, y'all. I'm so glad it's gone. Not that I did terrible things, but just I wrote some real confessionals on there, and I'm so glad there's no trace.
And if you want to be preemptive in the blocking party, the ADL, the Southern Southern Poverty Law Center,
Yep.
the HRC, and I believe GLAAD has also recently published lists of, why are these people here? Like, these are outright dangerous people that are calling for stochastic terrorism and sometimes even having participated in it. They have put out lists that I know the moment Notes went live, I loaded the list from the ADL and went through and blocked everyone. And the one from the ADL is probably my favorite because it's not just, here are the people that are supporting various racist organizations, but it actually has, here are the very strong MRAs that are against women having any rights. Here's the anti-queer people, and here are the specifically transphobic people. It actually kind of goes across the gamut of horrible. And I just went through, and
the intolerant peoples.
Yeah, they did not link, which is also very important, not to link to these people. We do not need to give them free publicity. But I just went and searched the name of each of these people and then hit block, block, block. And it took a little bit of time, but it was something that I chose to do in entering the space because I knew that there were people that were on there that I did not want to see my content. Because like Hi Rychek is on there, and she is starting to mine it for content. And if you don't know who she is, you're living a blessed life. I don't want to hurt you. Just be happy. You live in a world where you don't know who she is. But I don't want to be featured in one of her posts. So the moment I found out that she was on there, I searched her up, blocked her immediately, so that it is going to be at least harder for her to see anything that I do.
Real quick, searching within the website using Substack search function in general will not trigger the other systems.
Correct.
But it's like when you Google search for someone, now all of the Google advertising systems know it. Just like if you search for something on Facebook, all the Facebook advertising systems now know. But within that closed ecosystem, it's not as problem.
And it's important to realize, like when we're talking about how the other ones are gamed to give you a bad experience, quite a few developers for Facebook have come forward and testified under oath about how they tested the algorithm and found out that people spend more time on Facebook if they're unhappy. And they talked about engineering the feed so that it's showing you just enough to keep you irritated and not actually happy, so that you keep scrolling. Like doom scrolling is a feature to them, not a bug. And it was amazing, especially in the earliest days of Notes, seeing all of these people posting things like, wait, what's happening? Am I joy scrolling? Like so many people were having this moment of, because that intermediary isn't there. Everything is shown, at least at this point, as we're recording this, in reverse chronological order. So other than the algorithms of who you get to see that we talked about in the first hour, they're not pushing certain content forward to you to get a certain type of engagement from you. Their entire goal with this platform is to get people writing for Substack and getting people subscribing to their Substacks so that they can make more money. And that is a win-win scenario. That is the one thing that has kept me with them through this, is that it is this win-win scenario. They're making money off of me making money. So they are going to be doing what they can to get me to make money. That is a beneficial business relationship. If you're working on any other site, they don't really care about you. Amazon, for example, doesn't care whether or not your book makes money. They care about having all of the books, so they can say, we have all of the books. Why would you go somewhere else?
You can't get them elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also why they push exclusivity and all of the other things that they do over there. Their interest is not so much in getting you to buy from them, getting you to make money. It's getting you to get people to go to their website so that they can sell them the Amazon branded stuff that they make an insane markup on. That you are just an advertiser for them. That's all that they see you as. And that's a different kind of marketplace to the one that they're building over on Substack. And like I said, I do have a lot of faith that something will be done about this, because I've watched them very rapidly iterate since I've been there. And like I said, I've only been writing over there since November, and I have watched the chat feature come out, which, by the way, we haven't even mentioned the chat feature. Would you like to have a community where people can just talk to you? It's walled off. It's just where people can chat with you about what you're wanting. You have control over who can start posts in there, so you can make it a paid perk, so only your paid members can start posts, but anybody can comment on them, or however you want to do. There are a lot of features there that are great for building community and setting up that community. That didn't exist when I started over there. That got rolled out in the time since, and they have iterated on it and made the feature better. So I've seen them have this very quick turnaround. And the fact that they are seeing this outcry, it's why we're spending so much time talking about it. They need to hear.
They are responding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, if we thought we were just criticizing a brick wall, why bother? I could be spending my time enjoying delicious treats I've made, or hanging out with my friends and playing games. I'm not. Nothing ever made the world better by yelling at it. But instead, because we are being listened, we're like, okay, let us talk about this. Let us talk about the shortcomings and the strengths and what we're looking forward to, what's working. I mean, honestly, I have gotten a surprising amount of commentary in the chat on my articles and other things we've posted in my Substack that I was genuinely not expecting. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Eva. I appreciate it. Do I know how to necessarily interact? No, y'all. We told y'all it's awkward siblings, right? I am awkward on my own, not just with Tom. But nevertheless, like, it is possible also for readers to interact with each other in the chat function for the articles, for your publications. And like, they can honestly talk about, well, this gives me a lot to think about. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to try this, or what have you. I mean, right now, to be honest, all of our readership is relatively low by Substack standards. We are new babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think so far everybody's still under 100, because that's the first milestone for Substack. And so we're not getting tons of interaction, but we are already still getting interaction. And our readers can feel heard about their commentary, even if it's just simply, I like this. Like, oh, cool. People like it. That's nice. You didn't just read it out of some sort of emotional guilt trip. Yay. Nice to know. But, like, I could definitely see in the future Megan's lovely articles about, have you heard this music? Which she has definitely given me the personal experience of, Glory, I have your attention. Let us explore together, and like discovering like music that like never I would have looked up in my entire life, and Megan turned me on to. And it's just such a joyous, wonderful experience. But I could definitely see, since Megan's also then I was like, Megan, you should totally make these in articles. And she did do one like that. And I could see that with Megan's readership grows, that like many people having essentially that conversation that I had by myself with Megan of, this is amazing. Also, Italian rappers I did not see coming. What an interesting motif in Italian rap. But okay, cool, but wild. Of like that sort of shared discovery together and then conversations about it. And so on, of being able to have like people who've also read the same articles who are discovering the music or talking about, other interesting articles Megan's written about, like the man who made an AI wife and then
Euthanized her. Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, because she lost interest in him. Surprise. Surprise! Look, if you can't cut it with a human, you're not going to be able to cut it with an AI. I'm just saying, AIs have a lot more information background than humans do. So if you can't cut it with human, it's not looking good. But again, like being able to have more of a community interaction about that after we all read it and giving food for thought about Megan's article, that is going to come with increased readership for everyone who has Substack. Hello, Alpha One Cells.
Hello.
Yes, we're both clicking things. We're both clicking all the things. Me and Tom having a good time. And Spence's Modern Pygmalion. Yes. Eva says, I imagine that's how Vamps would be in real life. Just totally bored with humans. Yeah, me too.
I don't know. I like the one I heard recently. I don't know who was it. Was it Igor or someone? Talking about, the elves. Or maybe it's just something I saw on Instagram of some Tumblr post about how elves would be about humans the way, parents are about children.
Oh, well, this is how I felt about, I did talk about when Cassie died, my dachshund, that I wonder if this is how the Tolkien elves felt about, don't get attached to humans. They don't live long. Like, what was it? Was it Aragorn that, what's her name, was warned by her father against?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, I just want to say it. Viggo, what's his Mortensen? When Hugo Weaving was like, don't do it, Liv Taylor. He's a human and he won't live long, even though he looks great in okay, it's fine.
But no, someone I saw, I think it was a Tumblr set recently, people talking about like, but can't you just see the elves, talking about their humans, like, let's go to one of their concerts, and it's kind of like going to your kids' music concert. Like, can you imagine they've only been playing for 20 years? They're so new at this.
Oh God, I feel like that every time I listen to Bowling for Soup's 1985. Oh God. Like I love it because Tom's the one who introduced me to their music. It's that specific music video, and then the remake they made of it.
The update.
Yes, the update.
I remember the first time I heard that song was on Radio Disney.
I can't. Why are you making me feel like Faye?
The violence.
The violence of Megan here. Yes, I agree, Eva. I do feel like dogs and cats look at us like we're Faye because we barely age and they age so quickly by comparison. And how, like, I have so far mourned half of the length of Cassie's lifetime again. And I still have not tried to get another dog.
Aww.
Look at that baby. Let me make her big. Oh. With a little puppy break.
So tired.
So tired from dog going all day.
Right beside.
Oh, there's the other one.
Oh, look at them. They're exhausted from doing
I took them for a walk earlier, so they are a little tired from that. But yes.
Oh, you've seen us, mother.
I do love CB just coming for you. Does Radio Disney still exist?
Just the violence.
I don't even know. I want to know, but I don't even know.
Yes, Eva, remember how old 16 was? We were oh yeah. We're like, you're practically a proper adult now. You're only a few years from living on your own. It's like, And then being that age going, oh, I am not prepared to be self-subsistent. No. Yes. All the tuckered pups.
But yeah, like we want to, we are enjoying Substack. We feel like it's still got potential, but we are the type of people that want to go in with our eyes open. We want others to go in with their eyes open of, here's the current state of things. Yeah, there's problems, but they are actually changing and updating, and it's in their financial interest to listen to the creatives. So we still have hope that there will be improvements.
But I also think that we're a good sample of the people that are over there, in that I don't know how many of you have had to do the blocking that I've had to do, but also you're not in a current square in the middle of a currently targeted group that is being very vocal about that targeting. So, like I don't mean to be like, so how many people have you blocked? But I feel like it's something that I've had to deal with a lot more.
The new body count.
Than other people have, just because I'm very outspoken, because bad things are happening.
In real time, yeah.
Yeah. And that outspokenness attracts both very positive people. I've actually met a lot of activists in my state through Substack that we are planning and commiserating behind the scenes about things that we could possibly do to fight off what's going on here. But that has also brought in some of the trolls and some of the bad people too. It
was cool to see in you making these connections in real time with other activists in your state. It was really neat to see that on notes as it was happening.
Again, the stuff we used to see in the 2000s on these platforms.
People making real connections with real people, and establishing a community by which to get things accomplished.
So I really do want to stress, like, I'm not in the same way that they mean it, but it is a platform that you will get out of it a lot of what you are putting in. And I don't, at least the way it is currently structured, the issues that we're dealing with, a lot of mainstream users of the site probably won't see, at least not in these early stages. Like they will, as we're following more and more people, and as we're building up, especially that home tab and the subscribe tab, it'll be more likely to see more of that interaction creeping in. But right now, I would not be afraid. Look, my life has enough challenges in it already, and if I thought that Substack was going to head the way of Twitter, I would have already left. Like I uninstalled Twitter from my phone a long time ago. I have rarely signed in to my Twitter account since, and usually just for really darkly funny things, like when I installed the blue blocker on the day that they switched over the system to the new blue check marks, just to watch all of the people get blocked. Like I think I posted maybe one or two things, but it was just fun watching all of these people getting blocked, just constantly getting blocked as they were being fed into the system. Like it was a fun little like game for me, like to watch. I'm not going to go somewhere that is going to make my life harder. And I don't feel like that's going to be the case. And this could just be that I have rose-tinted glasses on, but I've been in the tech sector for a while. I have beta tested a lot of social media apps over the years. This is not something that I am new to, but yeah. Oh, it is fun to watch. It was so much fun. But, I think that there is a lot of promise here. They just need to realize what it is that they've done, because allowing somebody to have a newsletter on your platform, that's a different kind of platforming to allowing them to reach out and talk to other people on your platform. That's a very different kind of interaction. And I feel like that's the miscommunication that has happened so far, that they're just seeing it like, well, it's not been a problem with our newsletters. Why would it be a problem with notes? It's a different
beast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, as more and more of the big subscribers over there, so the big writers over there are starting to complain that their readership is starting to ask, like, do you think maybe you should start a Patreon? Like, as they're starting to bring that up, that does start setting the red flags up to them, like, oh, no, that's us losing money.
Mm-hmm.
And, I do believe that action will be done. But,
I do too.
Yeah, like I said, I would not be using it if I thought that it was going to devolve into just a cesspool of nonsense.
But I mean, like, we definitely wanted to inform people of what was going on so far, that they were not caught blindsided.
Yes.
And to understand the lay of the land as it stands right now, because, like, informed consent matters. So, we have been doing our best to keep up on what is happening at Substack. As changes are made, some have been for good, some have been less good, and then some have been revamped, which is great. So, like, that is what we're trying to do, is give you a full lay of the land so you know what you're getting into. In the next hour, we're actually going to go over the nuts and bolts and what we've learned. Here are the things we've learned. And these are our tips and tricks to help us with the knowledge we've learned on how to make Substack posts that are more appealing, that people enjoy more. What are people looking for? What are your readers looking for? So that, essentially your learning curve is not quite as steep as ours. Ours honestly wasn't actually that steep, and it helped that we were all doing this together. But we want to smooth that out for anyone coming after us even more, because isn't that the point of a community? Is here's what we've learned, and you can take it or leave it, but at least now you know. Like, I have truly learned, my readers, they want the visuals. They love the pictures. And I truly did stumble into some cool hacks for that, because I am so tired of reinventing the wheel, y'all. Like, I'm tired. So, what I learned on how to essentially shortcut making so many visuals. And I know Megan went a somewhat different route and got to the same place of like, well, I need a bunch of visuals. How do I shortcut this? Because ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, Megan always got these puppies to take care of. She got things to do. She got to nurse her boyfriend back to health. She got things, right? Charlie has an in-house chaos demon who is all the time keeping them on their toes. Like, they ain't got no time for nonsense. What, Trev? What? I don't know. So that is what we're going to talk about the third hour. That is your reward if you stuck around this far, because we adore y'all. Also, I'd just like to point out there are info, like Megan's link down below. Charlie has links. Tom has links. We all have links. I do have a link. So if you are new here, we would love for you to like, subscribe, share with somebody that you think this might be useful information. We would love for you to share. And when you click like on the video, it helps the YouTube algorithm know what you want to see more in the future. And it also helps the YouTube algorithm know people who have similar viewing content as you, that they might like it too. So it's something to think about if you are having a good time. We hope you are. And we're going to take a little breaky break, another little bio break. Do you have something to drink? Do you have a snack? Did you know that popcorn is the official writer's snack of all writers for at least the last 200-300 years? I have this on authority. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying you have to eat popcorn, because also sandwiches is the official writer's meal. I'm just saying. We want you to be fed, and then we will see y'all in the last hour as we talk about here are all the things we've learned that you don't have to go through our growing pains. It'll be cool. And to help us, we're gonna look at Megan's hippo.
Yay!
Timer, because I am in a hippo-y mood today. We'll see y'all on the flip side. Me. Mimina, 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 me. Mimina, me. Mimina, 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 me. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Sorry about that. The beasts have gone wild. They heard something out the front door and were like, must bark. Princess, stop it. You're fine. Princess, stop it. You're fine.
He's been making the slideshow, and he just came in to say it's compiling. So he's gonna post a link, unlisted, list it, make it unlisted on the YouTube channel, and post a link to Discord so everybody can click on it. Oh, look at this pupper. So cutie.
Smoked meat on a salad is life.
No, I'm so glad. Which kind of smoked meat? What is it?
It was the beef.
Nice.
It worked really good with all of the veggies and everything.
I'm telling you now, it extended Cassie's life by 3 years, y'all. Smoking all the meats, it gave her the will to live for 3 extra years. I'm so grateful for that time with her.
And it is a distinct animal call. Like all of the animals will make a semicircle around you, like it's the Lion King, and you're about to show them the newborn Simba. Like,
here's our baby. Yeah. Yep.
They will be sad when you do not share.
I always save a little bit for each animal for afterwards, so they can at least lick it, try it. Like a sliver for each one, but it's just me. Let's see. Eva having Hawaiian bread with dill dip for snack or appetizer. Yum, yum, yum. Sven said, LMAO, OMG, that shuffly, sneezy noise scared the pants off me. I thought it was one of the potatoes. Oh, dear. CB posted first Substack. That's awesome.
I just got the notification. I was about to say.
Yay! I can't wait to read it.
Eva said the intelligence leaked through Discord is likely to prompt some sort of moderation intervention there, or no? Do you want me to send you the link on Instagram, Eva? Because I don't think I have your email address. No, maybe I do. Oh, you can tell it's been a long week. Eva says, I have a few Substack posts written, but none of them make sense to post yet. Oh, dear. Hi, Carrie. Carrie says, hi, doggy, to Megan. Oh, IG's good. Okay, we'll send it to you there, Eva. And I posted a picture of the kitty.
And I responded with a picture of Nessie.
Yeah, very nice. That's what I did during the break. I went and chatted with Tom for a moment and took a kitty picture, posted it. She looks like that because she was taking a nap, and I walked close enough that she was like, what, pettings? I was like, no pictures. The disappointment. So
I think the first thing that I think everyone should know about when going into this new process, especially if you're somebody like me who is a collector of fine people's writing, and you keep seeing blogs and going, subscribe. If you have their app installed on your phone and you go into the notification settings, you can change your notifications to smart notifications, which means you don't get emails for all of those. You get a notification on your phone for when they post, and you can read it that way. So if you find yourself getting absolutely flooded because you've recently subscribed to a whole bunch of fabulous people, and you're like, oh God, my email will never be the same again, This is how you control it. And when it says smart notifications, Substack really is the app for writers. If you are not regularly reading one of the people that you're subscribed to, they will start emailing their newsletter to you again. Because obviously the notification on the phone isn't working. It is a smart notification. It will instantly go, oh, I guess all of this on the app then. And then if there's anybody that you missed, you will immediately know, because you'll get, on an odd day when people don't usually post emails, you'll get an email from them saying, hey, check out my post. And you're like, but you don't usually post today. Did you post today? And it's like, no, you were a dummy. You didn't read your app. Here, I'm helping you. Which is nice. You can set it up for all of your notifications to go through the app rather than the website. This setting is not available on the website. You have to have the app installed and you have to be signed into it to see it and use it. It's in the notifications settings. So if it is something that you may want to use, because I know I have recently subscribed to way too many newsletters, because I keep running into really interesting people. I'm like, oh, I need to know more. Oh, but I need to know more. And I've hit subscribe a lot. Oh yeah, if you want the emails, you can keep getting the emails. That's the beauty of it. It's just, I'm on a lot of committees. I am on a board for a religious organization that insists on using email rather than any other tool for communication, even though we've begged. So my email is fraught to begin with, because not everybody understands how to reply to an email. And so instead of having like a thread of all the things on one topic, there are a lot of separate emails from people that saw the thing and then just hit compose and wrote a brand new email on the topic. So the conversations are all, don't get me started. My email is fraught. Let's just leave it at that. So this was very handy for me, because I, like I said earlier, am using it like I used to use Google Reader, because that used to be how I woke up every morning, is I would load up my Google Reader and read through all of these amazing stories from all these amazing blogs that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
And Substack has become that for me again. So I don't need the emails as much. And for anybody who's using it that way, this is how you can clear your inbox out.
It almost reminds me of Medium, before Medium put up all the paywalls for everything.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like, you could just use the app and scroll through, and you see all the content from the people you follow, and it was great. And then they ruined it by putting all the paywalls up for everything.
Okay, so I gave them, when they used the email that they had, and getting things to change is, sorry, Carrie, it's just change is hard. Like it's quicker than it is in the Catholic Church, because there's fewer of us and we're much more lefty, but change is hard.
Change is hard.
Even a change makes sense.
Yeah.
It's still hard.
Oh, Brian.
Brian.
But yeah, I thought that was a good tip that took me a while to figure out, because it's not immediately evident that if I want to get fewer emails, I need to go into notifications on the app.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that that's necessarily intuitive for the process, but so on a practical level, the great thing that I have found in having Substack is my podcasts are over there, my writing is over there, and I can manage them all in one interface without having to run around to a lot of different things and sign into 1,000 different things to do one task. And what's really, really nifty is, so you can create what are called sections, which are like sections in a newspaper. They actually make separate newsletters in and of themselves, that if somebody is not interested in a section of your newsletter, they can specifically unsubscribe to just that one. and not get those posts, but still get all the others, which I really like. That's a nice user feature that they have. And the same is true with podcasts. And what's really cool, though, is when you add audio to anything. And like I said, in the first hour, I'm trying to make my content as accessible as I can. So I'm doing audio versions of virtually all of my posts. And I even, for the creation spirituality stuff, went back to old posts, like the more important older posts, and did audio for them as well. When you upload that audio, it will ask you, should this audio be included in one of your podcasts? And so you can have a post that the text appears in one section and the audio for it goes out to all of your podcast subscribers in a different one. And that is really nice and really handy and has helped me get a lot of stuff going, because the audio editor that I use actually transcribes my audio, and then I edit the audio as if it were text. So I have a transcript for all of my podcasts to start with. So it's there if people want to read it as an article. It's there if people want to listen to it as just me going on and on and on and on. But it's really nice having all of that functionality in one place, as well as the ability to have stuff be available for free for a while and then disappear behind a paywall, or start, which is how I am doing my stuff going forward, where it will start behind the paywall to reward people that do support the work that I'm doing, but then go out to everyone, because I don't want to keep it back there for forever. And that's all just in the publishing interface, and it's very clearly worded. It's very clearly spelled out. For as long as there is still a Twitter and they don't keep blocking the app, you can have it auto post to Twitter for you.
I don't think they do that anymore, because the last time I posted, I was not able to post to Twitter.
My last post on Saturday had the post to Twitter option.
Oh, so mine maybe does not. That's
I think it's going back and forth, like day by day, depending on the mood that Elon was in that morning.
Oh, God.
Oh, lovely.
Like, are they blocking Substack or not?
Oh, the whims of white men. Okay.
It was theirs. I don't know if it's still there or not,
Rich.
but
That's
it
all
was
they're
there for
good
me on
for.
Saturday.
Spence says, guys, I ran out of my Pyrex. I have more things I need to make and store in my Pyrex. Frick time to scrounge. He says, I haven't set up Stripe yet. I don't have any plans to add paywall content at this moment. I mean, again, you don't have to. And you can do that at any point if you choose to later.
Eva, I'm going to say this with love. Whether or not you plan to have paywalled content, you should try to set up the Stripe for that. You never know when people are going to randomly do a drive-by and give you money. I say this to all my writer friends. I make so much more money through drive-by kindness than I do from selling books.
Same.
I have people that like what I'm doing, that want to keep me writing, and will just show up and be like, here's some money, keep going, have the fun, bye. Wah. Like, you need to make opportunities for that. And the way Substack works, you can have a monthly, so it'll cost this much per month that they can do as a recurring. You can set a yearly price for it, and if you set up, by default, it's called the founders level, but you can change that to whatever you want, and that is a pay what you want. You can set a floor for how the lowest you will accept on that, because it is an annual plan. They get access to any of your paid stuff for a year, so you can set a floor for it, but they can put whatever number they want in there, up to I think 10K, because at that point they're like FCC filings and Secret Service filings, all that stuff.
There are actual SEC issues over $10,000.
Yeah.
Don't ask how I know. I have a mottled back history. Okay.
But hence the problems now with a certain court case.
Yes. But essentially, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mine is not that troublesome. But the SEC did almost get involved. Thanks, catalytic converters. Hold on.
Because the one thing that I have noticed a lot of the authors that I've been talking to, because I've had the good fortune of being able to actually have some conversations with some of the more established writers on the platform, they don't have anything behind a paywall and still have hundreds, if not thousands, of paid subs.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you give people a way to support your work, those that really love what you are doing will support your work.
Yep.
So even if you're not planning on paywalling any of your content, and like I said, the only reason I'm doing it is I feel like I should do some kind of reward, and I think early access, a lot of people do that for their Patreon stuff anyway, and that just felt like an easy thing to do. But yeah, it's something that every writer should consider having that set up.
Mm-hmm.
Although, and I will say from our experience with coffee, you want to set up Stripe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because PayPal from any of these systems automatically assumes it is a business and takes randomly, it seems like between 10 and 30%.
Like, my goodness, PayPal is yeah. Stripe has much fairer processing fees.
And it goes straight through.
And since we'd already set up Stripe for Ko-fi, it's the same account because it's our account, it's Stripe account. So I just plugged in the same information for Stripe over on Substack since I had already set it up for Ko-fi. So, and it really was not hard or complicated or anything. It's great. Highly recommend. But it is there in case somebody pulls a Laura. And yes, Eva, we very much fondly remember all of your producing help when we were baby accounts before we were monetized and we needed the encouragement and also just the love.
But it is a surprising thing, and it's why I like to bring it up, because a lot of us think about are kind of mired in this very capitalistic mode when we're thinking about our writing of I produce a product and then I sell that product and that is how I make money. I have been writing for a very long time. I have sold a very large amount of books. I have always made the majority of my money from people randomly, like at a convention going, how much is the book? Oh, it's $10, and handing me a 20 and saying, keep the change. Or handing me a 50. One lady handed me $100 bill and said, keep the change. Because people that like what you're doing, especially when they have the means, want to ensure that it's going to keep coming their way. And they will find ways to support you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to close that off.
Yeah.
Like, I understand if that feels weird to you. Like, do what do what feels best in you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pressure anyone here. But keeping those avenues open, like I was in a panic because I got a notification that one of the services that I used to make music was about to charge, and I didn't have the money for it. And I didn't say anything to anybody, and somebody randomly dropped enough money into my coffee just as a thinking of you that covered it.
Yeah.
And like, that is not, I know a lot of writers, and that is not an uncommon experience for creatives in this world.
I look forward to hearing about your experience, Carrie. So, one of the things that I learn in my Substack adventures is that our readers really like the visuals but making, like, so for instance, with Tom's news bites, which just have like very brief summaries for 5 articles of note that Tom and I will find all these articles, and then he'll select 5 to go into a news bite post. And I wanted to have visuals for him, but I felt overwhelmed by it. So what I honestly did was on Canva, I looked at their Facebook ad templates and just started using those with pull quotes from his summaries. And that has gone so well. We've actually picked up subscribers since I started doing that. It's very easy to do since, all those templates are already made in Canva. And I just pull a quote, a short quote. Sometimes they're not even that short, I'll be honest. And it has worked out surprisingly well. Obviously all the ad templates are eye-catchy. And that has worked out well because, let's be honest, when I am editing Tom's news bite posts and summaries, why is it always that I'm so tired? I'm already so tired. I'm like, I'm in editor mode, and it's just, I am raggedy from the world at that point. And it's like, I have so few spoons left. So very nice.
Yay.
And so that has been very helpful for me. I would like to encourage everybody to consider at least putting in some visuals in your post, even if you're not sure like how it relates. Again, I want you to just think about this. A pull quote, a brief pull quote in the middle helps visually break up the gray print.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, as a side, use it for your media posts. If you choose to, you could do that with Substack. And that is under, I believe, the preview section, not the preview. Right before you do publish, where it's like, who do you want to see it? And do you want to have a chat up?
Yeah, the settings. I think.
Thank you. Yes, it's like, there's a word, I don't remember it. So you can actually tell it to use that image you've made or multiple images. So for mine now, when I'm editing Tom's news bites, I actually put in a visual for each one with a pull quote for each summary. And put that in along with, we still are linking the article, and we've got his summary in there and all the other important information, like the source. And that's made it very easy but doable for me. Now, Megan, I know that you've taken a slightly different approach. Slightly,
yes,
like much different, really.
But
it's interesting.
I use AI. I use Artbreeder, their collager. I use that to create custom images for my blog posts. And all I have to do is come up with a small little clip of what I'm looking for. Like, let me sign into Artbreeder right now, and then I can read off some of the prompts that I gave it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Carrie says, I had fun making the social media share images for my fantasy adventure. Each chapter is a different image that relates to that chapter.
I've been doing that with the chapters for my serialized fiction as well, and have been having a lot of fun making it. And I feel like I've gotten good enough using our Midjourney that I don't know that people can tell the difference between my art and what Midjourney generated anymore.
Nice.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Am I just becoming a better AI or what? I don't know.
Oh, the website is having an error right now. So maybe I won't be able to show you, but I can at least, I think it's up on my other laptop. I might be able to. Like for one of the images, I did an image of a bunny rabbit in the style of Lisa Frank. That was for my last post that I wrote.
That was a really cool picture.
And it was a very like technicolored rabbit, and it looked really cute. I really liked it. Let's see. I have So for one of the images, I had of images of books burning, and for that I did an image of a book covered in flames, and that gave me a nice it looked like the books were in the process of being burned at that moment, which was great for my post on censorship and stuff like that. So it works for a lot of diverse. You can make a lot of different styles of images with it. I tend to go towards the Lisa Frank style, but you can also you can choose, famous painters like Van Gogh or Matisse, and be like, I would like this in the style of Matisse. And it'll create it. That would all of those images have, except for the harvesting humans and a man built an AI waifu. The rest were created with AI images. So that the yarn that binds, the one under that was a image of a woman knitting, sort of. It kind of got the hands wrong, but
What was that? I just saw it.
Yeah,
it was right
it
next to Let Freedom Read.
And if making images is something that you feel is just like way too stressful, they have a built-in pull quote thing that you can do.
Other direction, and you'll see the ones made by AI. And that one was AI as well. That was made with AI. That was not. That was definitely a Lisa Frank style of house, pink house. And then you're getting into all my memes. That was a pair of figure skates that I made using the Art Breeder collager. That was kind of difficult because it didn't want to get the blade part of the skate correctly, but that was also made with AI. It's a cell phone image in the style of Lisa Frank. She's my go-to artist.
I mean, look at that bunny.
It's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
But I highly recommend checking out Art Breeder for creating your images, because then you can create custom images so it'll match what you're writing about. You don't have to worry about trying to find something that fits whatever you're talking about. You can make something that does fit, especially if you're talking about something that maybe isn't necessarily popular or mainstream necessarily. Like there are some things like figure skates are honestly not. It's very difficult to find like good like clip art of figure skates and stuff like that, because it's just not a popular sport in the United States, at least.
But yes, there's a lot of ways to have fun making it, and it's figure out what's sustainable for you. Like that's really also what we're getting at is don't, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but don't put too much time into any particular one. You want something that you can do regularly, because that's really what people are interested in. That was actually originally how Charlie sold everyone on going to Substack, is they noticed that the popular Substack newsletters and the ones that had more paid subscribers were just the ones that were consistently putting stuff out regularly. That just over time, people are like, oh, I am enjoying this. I want to support them.
Yep.
It's not that, oh, they had that one that everyone's like, oh, I need to subscribe so I see what's next. It's just they enjoy the regular output. So what is it you can regularly put out that people will, that you will enjoy doing, and you will find your audience through that?
Yeah, because that I've really found over there is be personal and personable. Like, as always, the basic caveats: don't share anything that you wouldn't want strangers to know about you. But having that personal conversational tone, it's I think that there's been this professionalizing of email and newsletters, especially in the writing community, where it's like, and this is your formal, like, from the desk of, like, I am telling you the story, and it has to have this kind of newsreader kind of voice to it. That's not what's going to have the most benefit on Substack. It's really, the more personal you are, the more honest. Like, I hate to use the term authentic because it's been devalued so much through its overuse, but that authentic voice where people can tell that you really either truly love, hate, are confused by, are inspired by, whatever the emotion is that you are conveying, the more honest you are with conveying that, the more interaction that post will get. And that's doubly true in notes.
And very much they're interested in, what is the coffee talk?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is, an afternoon tea conversation?
Yes.
What do you go to have? What do you talk about during a lunch with a friend?
Mm-hmm.
That's what people are interested in.
That human connection.
But also that then they can talk similarly with their friends about what they just read. Something, that you wrote that's very interesting and in a way they hadn't thought about, but they can now discuss with others.
Mm-hmm.
And be wildly experimental.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think I've noticed that Substack is really a good place for people who are neurodivergent because the weirdness is rewarded there. Like,
There we go. The weirdness is rewarded. Yes.
yes, exactly. Like, I've seen people talk about the wildest topics on their Substacks. I've seen food blog, the traditional kind of food blog type of post. I've seen everything under the sun, basically. And the more personality of the more of yourself you can infuse into your project, the better your reaction you're going to get, I think, based on my experience and what I've seen on the platform itself.
Yeah, the weird poetic essay thing that I've started doing over there recently has really gotten a lot more engagement than any of the stuff that I've ever done. And when I wrote the first one, I had some friends over to the house, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I need to read this to you because I think I may have done a bad. I don't know, because the first one that I did was I want to make an art, was the name of that post. And it starts with a god-awful poem on purpose, intentionally. Like, the purpose was, how do I write the worst poem about wanting to be an artist that I could possibly write? And that's not the way that you would think about structuring a post. But in the interactions that I've had with people since that came out, seeing that poem start so bad, and then the version at the end, which is the good version of that poem, is what I think is the good version of that poem, shows that struggle, that fight. It demonstrated what I was trying to do. And it's weird that at one point the argument drops off into just a picture that I did that is just like, there were no words, and I just included a picture and then continued on as if the picture had said something, commenting on what the picture had said. Being experimental, being honest, being myself, really connected with a lot of people who brought out other meanings than the ones that I had intended in the writing of that. And that's, to me, what doing something, that means I did something special. Like, when people are seeing things in your work that you did not necessarily intend to be in there, but was meaningful and powerful to them. And I really thought, like, and here's where my subscriber count's going to go to 0. Like, this weird thing that I really wanted to do, and I felt like was definitely the thing I should do, that I'm sure, like, if I like I could hear, like I was talking to Jason about this the other day. I was like, the posts I've been writing lately, I hear you in the back of my head screaming, like, don't do that. No. Why are you doing that? And that's how I know I'm kind of on the right path. Like, no tea, no shade, but like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing every time I hear you yell at me in the back of my head. And it's because I'm letting myself break some of those rules and test, how do I want to tell this? How do I want to find meaning? That's allowing the stuff that I'm writing to connect to people, because it is much more honestly me. And I don't know if I would have allowed myself to be experimental like that if I was still writing on my own website. Because I would be thinking, like, what's the ROI on this? Like, I'm paying for the site to be hosted. Is this going to bring people in? Is there a chance that, like, I find myself less and less thinking, is anybody going to want to read this? Because the more I thought about that, the more I was like, well, nobody's going to read this. And like, oh, that got more reads than the last post that I did. You know, seeing that feedback cycle of, okay, just trust myself, is one of, like, whether I stay with them forever or if this is just the flavor of the year and next year I find something that I like better, I'll be forever grateful to that, because it has gotten me to do something that has become very hard, and that's love writing. Because it's really difficult to not be sitting back and thinking, well, will this make the money? Will this build the audience? Will this hurt my brand? Like, all of these questions that, yes, if we're running a business, they're important questions to be asking ourselves, but they are also an entire Greek chorus standing between you and the work that you need to be making.
I think for me also, why I've been more willing to be experimental on Substack is the knowledge that there are so many readers that are already using Substack, and every time you publish, unless you tell Substack not to, you'll get 24 hours of Substack boost, which means you're far more likely to have that publication exposed to people who've never seen your work before. So the idea of, okay, it's okay to be experimental because there's a possibility it'll catch new readers who would be interested in this. So maybe not the readers I already have, but some new readers who, like, that was why I was willing to post a poem, was, well, maybe we'll see, if maybe there are more poetry readers out there on Substack, and I could find some new readers for that, even though I've never posted poems on Substack before. And that was also what has led me to be more willing to be experimental and really play around with everything from article titles and, frankly, even, titles of newsletters, and just like keep workshopping it. There's so many people on Substack that I'm bound to eventually strike gold, even if just by accident. So why not really let my imagination run away and, like, really try some new things, get out of my comfort zone and start getting into my experimental zone.
And I've had that spill over onto my other platforms as well. Like, when I wrote Hollowness and Meaning, I was in a very raw place, and I think that shows in that post. And I immediately, when I was done and I was finished editing it, I just plugged my microphone in and recorded myself reading it, because I wanted to capture that place that I was in. I felt that was almost like the performance art part piece of the puzzle. And when I got that recorded and I was editing the recording, I just thought to myself, why don't I put this up on YouTube? And I made a very quick, simple video out of that recording. And it's honestly the best performing video I've done on YouTube in a very long time. And it would never have happened if I hadn't felt safe to experiment, because it's a very experimental post in the way that it's written, the way that it continuously goes back and forth between this very poetic style and essay. There's a drabble in the middle of it, because have you met me? I'm a little bit of everything. But
a detour in the middle of your story.
What?
But it tells the story that I needed to tell in a way that that got my meaning across. And it has performed very well because I released it as a podcast episode. It performed very well on the podcast. It has performed very well as a Substack post, and has performed, for my channel at least, very well as a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be experimenting like that if I hadn't gotten comfortable with this idea of, let's just try it. Let's just see, not everything is not the end of the world. It feels like it, especially if you live in Missouri. It feels like the end of the world. But
I mean, it was something I was talking to Glory when we were going up to Hot Springs of, the way you should always look at conventions, let alone going to visit and hang out with people, going, to have essentially a party in some form or another, is there's only to gain. There is no loss in this situation. The loss would be that you didn't get to do anything this time. But if you get to do anything, that's a gain you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you get to do is a gain. So try to, get all the bonuses you can. And stop looking at it like, but what about the downsides? There's no downside. Worst case, even what we're talking about being experimental, if you lose a few people, it's people who realize that they are not actually your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also less likely in the future you will deal with the negative voices that don't like what you're doing, versus the more you are yourself, the more you put out the stuff that you want to put out, the more you will reinforce the people who are around you who like your work and want more of that you can easily produce. Who wants to have fans who want you to do the work that takes you a year to put out, 5 paragraphs? It's unsustainable. They're not that interested. They're not going to support you that strongly.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the fandom worth having. Versus we need the supporters that, whatever you put out in, 20 minutes to an hour, they're like, go on. When is the next time you're going to have a moment to make another, piece? I'm waiting on that one. And they're just happy to see you. The same reason why we love having our pets. It doesn't matter what we've done that day. They are always happy to see us.
Mm-hmm.
And we need fans that feel the same way. We need readers that feel that same way of, yeah, you're going to vary what you're talking about, but they're always ready for your next.
I love how so much of genre talk, Megan would tell me, oh, I'm not into that genre. I'm not into that genre. But anytime I make a pitch for a story that I was thinking of writing, Megan's like, why is this not already written? And it's like, but Megan, you're not into the genre. You're like the last person I was expecting to, start a cafeteria ride of where is it now? But like that is still encouraging for me, even though I do also keep in mind, but this ain't Megan's normal wheelhouse genre.
I have a wide wheelhouse
Now.
I'm just very particular. I just like everything you write, though.
Oh, well, I wasn't digging for the compliments, but I'm
again, you're looking for people who like your style. I mean, if I'm honest, I like Terry Pratchett's fantasy style of, journalistic fantasy. Mm-hmm. I'm actually not that much interested in Terry Pratchett's ideas of, what a British boy experiences in life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really care that much for the Johnny and the series or the trucker stuff. That wasn't my style, but everything in Discworld of a fantasy journalism is like, go on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what's going to happen. I may not like all of it, but I'll be happy I read it.
Right.
And that really is the point here. And what I'm hoping to see really come back in myself and others is just this sheer love of writing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why we're doing this in the first place. Like, there's part of us that has a compulsion to do it or just really loves doing it, or both. Like I'm in the category of both. I God forbid I ever stop writing again. You will not want to be around me. You will not be around me. There's a word I can't say on YouTube that Glory used to describe me in person that is very true. And I'm like that with venting all of this excess energy and steam out of me. If I stop writing, I am the worst monster in the universe, and nobody needs to be around that. But it is.
Tom gets he'll like amused every time I'm like, well, I'm done with writing. It's just not working out. And, you know, and then like going back a few years later going, well, Tom, look at all the things I've written. I thought this was my not writing period. And Tom's like, yeah, you're hilarious. Because it's going to come out whether I mean it to or not. So in the middle of the night, if I can't sleep, I'll write it out just so I can get to sleep, not really thinking about this. Still writing. Still going to come out. If it has to keep you up in the middle of the night for you to finally put it on paper, so be it, you know, but it's going to come out. Writers cannot not write.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It will come out whether you want it to or not. And it will either come out in just what looks like insanity, or it'll come out on paper in the middle of the night. But it will come out of you. It will burst out of you, whether you want it to or not. So you might as well just roll with it.
I've been writing since before I learned letters, and I've been writing ever since. And I don't think I'm going to stop, even when my hands are arthritic and
Mm-hmm.
I'll voice to text, or I'll voice type it. Whatever it takes. I can't stop.
I remember when I first met Megan, she's like, oh, I'm not a writer. And I'm like, really? Because normally the only people who can really tolerate me are storytellers and writers. And yeah, Megan has never not written. She just did not think of herself. That wasn't her narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't mean she wasn't actually writing. And it certainly didn't mean she wasn't thinking about stories, thinking about articles and essays. Writers are writers, whether we want to be or not. It's something we can't resist. That's why we're here. This is the support group. Because seriously, if you could have any other hobby / career, I would highly recommend do that instead of writing. Oh, the emotional birthing work of writing is exhausting, and it's time consuming. And then on top of that, you didn't know you needed it, but now you need readers, because why do I go to this trouble without? And so it's all this work, but we can't not. That's why we're here.
And it might as well be fun.
Might as well.
I'm going to go through all of this. It might as well be fun. And it has been a long time since I've just experienced the sheer joy of writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking with somebody about this in notes yesterday and today, about like this is what it is all about for me. Like, I'm hoping that these stories do catch on and that people are going to like them. But as somebody who is a little hobgoblin of their own fiction and has all of these books that they just aren't sharing, while it terrifies me, this idea of going forward after chapter 12 comes out, I will be writing, editing, and posting these chapters as they happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that is both terrifying and extremely liberating, because I don't have to worry about holding on to the stories anymore. I don't have to worry about putting in all of this emotional labor and all of this technical labor of making sure that I figured out my world building and done the editing in the way that I want it to be, and ... to never show it to someone. And that's what I'm getting right now from Substack. And I'm hoping that continues, because I miss this feeling. I did not realize I missed this feeling until I got it back. And we need a word for it. Like, I don't know what the word for writing enjoyment is. I could say it in German and make a compound word, but it would be really obnoxious, because it'd be like Schreibennugen. And nobody needs that. But, you know, there's a certain thing there that gets lost with all of the, well, how am I going to be promoting myself and how am I going to be doing this and how am I going to be doing that. And I feel like while my work is not on autopilot in Substack, a lot of my worries and concerns are taken care of by the system. With Boost, like Gloria was talking about, putting me out in front of other people, the number of people that I see that are reading me just through the Substack app by randomly encountering me and getting new subscribers that way, like it's taking care of a lot of that outreach on my behalf, so I can focus on that thing that I truly, deeply love, and that is the writing.
Yes.
And as long as they continue focused on that, because that is how they keep me writing and how they get me building an audience, which will eventually make them money, right? Like, as long as they keep their eye on the prize, I have never wanted a verification badge as badly as I want the ones on Substack, because the badges are based off of how many paid subscribers you have.
Mm-hmm.
And just the idea of like the lowest one, I think you get at 100 paid subscribers. Mm-hmm. And the idea of having 100 paid subscribers blows my mind.
Oh, yeah. Like, we'd be able, it would change our lives.
Yeah.
Honestly. At the lowest subscriber rate, it would change our lives. And it's a lovely goal, but I know that deep down, Substack always has this goal for me. And it's nice that it's not just me and Tom against the world, that there's a whole community of both writers and readers who are like, yes, more, what you got? And that is, it's heady. It's heady to think there are people waiting. And as I said, we can see the open rates. We can see those stats of there are people who are getting all the way down to the bottom of the article. Mm-hmm. And like, that is just so encouraging in a world that, if anything, seems to have patented discouragement.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really nice.
And it really is like this, I guess, is my true final thought on this, is it really is a high tide raises all ships, because with that recommendation engine, I'm not just throwing everybody that I follow into the recommendation engine, because dear God, I have subscribed to a lot of newsletters. You have no idea. But I am picking the people that are in my community, that are closest to me, that I want to see succeed. And I know that any time I get a new subscriber, well, they're going to get recommended to them. Mm-hmm. They got recommended during the subscription process, and they may or may not have got to subscribe then, but they will eventually get more follow-ups of, hey, have you thought about Gloria? Have you thought about Megan? Are you interested in Spence? Like these recommendations are still going to be going out there. And so it gets rid of that feeling of jealousy. I don't know the exact word for it, of like when you see your friends succeeding in the same industry that you're in, where you're not like, oh, you know, this person is doing so much better than I am.
Envy.
Like, envy, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, because I
envy and jealousy.
Yeah, I'm buoyed by the knowledge that I'm not going to get left behind by my friends, by my writing colleagues. They're not going to leave me behind. That we are here together, and that the moving forward is together.
And that to me is such a big thing about this, because as I'm seeing people grow, like I've gotten some recommends from writers that I can't believe recommended my channel. And it's not just an ego boost for me. It's like any subscribers I get off of that recommendation will then get recommended all of my friends too. Mm-hmm. And it really is that pay it forward thing that, remember in the early heady days of the internet, when we were like, it's going to be this wonderful gifting economy where everybody's going to be paying it forward and it's going to be great. And we hadn't been disillusioned yet. This feels like a bright example of that actually being the case.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that that is what we end up getting out of it.
Yes.
It is.
It is such a nice feeling, Eva. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Megan, Tom,
Yes.
do y'all have any final thoughts beyond what we've already said?
Let me think for a second.
Sure.
I think what I really love about Substack is just the fact that people are actually reading what I'm putting out. Like, I've put my stuff out on blogs, and I am on like all the social medias pretty much, and this is the first place that I've actually really gotten like not just more readers. I'm getting people who are actually reading the stuff, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I really appreciate the fact the community that you're able to grow, and the fact that like it's an actual community that you are growing on this platform. And I think it's so versatile. It'll work with so many different types of writers. Um, I really see Substack has the potential for a great future if it works on the problems that we mentioned in hour 2. I think that is my final thoughts.
Yeah.
I will feed you in just a bit. Calm
They're
down.
starving, Mama. Tom, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I already said mine earlier.
Yeah. Same. All right. Well, so that is like our first foray into talking about Substack, and we definitely are looking forward to the next time we do Writers Roundtable season, maybe talking about it again, because we'll all be wiser and more experienced from this time, because it is such a new platform for us.
Mm-hmm.
Although, as we talked about, newsletters themselves are not new to us. I mean, I used to do newsletters on Ditto machines, and you don't know what newsletter formation is till you have risked getting cancer from the Ditto ink. That purple ink all over. Anyway, the sweet smell of cancer. So,
I would say I remember the literal copy and pasting.
Literally,
typewriter.
Yes. Yeah, with a special tape that wouldn't show up on the Ditto machine or the Xerox machine. Oh, y'all. Memory lane. But anyhow, next Monday's episode, I'll be honest, I have no idea what we're doing. The next 2 episodes will be Charlie free, if I am correct.
The next episode will definitely be Charlie free. I will be in California.
Yes. I was kind of wondering, Tom, if this is the next episode is the one you might want to talk about, like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels.
Okay.
Maybe Spence might even want to at least throw in her 2 cents about TikTok. The tickety-tockety. And maybe Laura, who've also made TikToks.
Everything is content.
Everything is content. Maybe even Kat might want to share. I don't know. So in theory, that's what we'll talk about next week. Make no promises. Nothing is set in stone till Wednesday on Twitch when we finally get our act together and set up for Monday's show. Yes. May Day is the next one, yeah? May 1st. Yes, ma'am. Yep. Correct, Beltane. So we'll talk about making the content because it is what is the only thing people seem to be watching. So it matters because you're creative and you deserve to be hurt. And believe me, I'm not the kind of person who throws the D word, deserve, around lightly. There's not a lot of things we as human beings deserve. There's a few: breathing, eating, shelter, sleeping, clean water, sleeping safely, where you will not be hurt or affected or interrupted when you're asleep. But creative people help the world be better. Creative people uplift the world with their own creative thoughts. And so one of the things creative people definitely deserve, since we are sharing so much of ourselves and our thoughts with the world, is to be heard, is to be seen. And also, people desperately want that because they want that creative input. They want those ideas. They want all those ideas that tickle their thoughts as they go about their day. And what we have found is in the 2020s, the world has changed again. And super short form video is where it's at. I used to be very intimidated by it. Frankly, if I'm brutally honest, I still am. But Tom is like, here, take my hand. I shall walk you. Let me take you along the primrose path. It is doable even for you, Glory. So if it's doable for me, I promise y'all it's doable for you. I am the most mediocre person you'll meet. I am like as middle of the road as you could come. I am nothing special, but I'm also nothing awful. I'm just Glory. So you
She's
too.
selling herself short. I got to meet her in person. She is amazing.
Girl. So you too deserve to be heard and deserve to share your thoughts. And also to see that your life is relatable and your thoughts are relatable. And yes, people want to hear about your did you know? I have been researching this person since I was a little kid. I've been doing presentations about this person. And I would like to now make a series of short videos. Yes, people actually want them. I love them. I'm constantly sending them to Tom. Poor thing. So we're going to talk about it because we want to, make you feel like you are capable of making this short form content that the masses are demanding. They crave it. They desire it. They just need you out there.
And and Instagram is another one where, what they're really pushing are the short form videos.
Instagram is no longer pushing the posts. They are almost exclusively pushing the short form videos. So again, how will you be heard? How will you be found by those readers, by the people who want to hear your thoughts? Because right now we're all being drowned out by the negative stuff. Look, I'm just going to say it. Maybe it's the optimist in me. I'm so sorry, y'all. But, that movie Tomorrowland, there's a certain truth there of if we focus purely on the negative, we will, it's those self-fulfilling prophecies will occur. And, what bothers me so much is the positive thoughts, the optimism, the, hey, let's all just be groovy to each other, gets drowned out. And part of why it gets drowned out is so many of us cool, groovy people are intimidated about how do we make these short videos? How do we do all these things? It's so much. I don't have a young person to hold my hand an hour a week as I try to make my new video about yet another video about my cat. I don't have that young person in my life to hold my hand. And maybe you don't either. We're going to do it together. It's very doable. If I can do it, you can do it. I promise y'all. Seriously. I'm not selling myself short on this. You just have no idea. I've just been helped by literally a village of human beings who are like, come with me, person.
And also, how do you do this on a real budget of nothing?
Zero money, zero ability, zero everything. Yeah, because we ain't got no money to spare. We just work hard at paying the rent and paying the electricity and occasionally buying food. So yeah, how do you do it with zero money and zero experience and zero everything? There's a way. We're going to go over it. And if you'd like to join us and share your tips and tricks, that would be even better than just us talking. So we hope you'll join us. And be sure to tell your friends. And be sure to share the videos. And also be good to yourself. Since we can't be there to treat you so well, please do it. Please do the self-care. All right. Have I forgotten anything?
Not that I can think of.
No. All right.
If you got nothing better to do, you can always check us. We will be on Discord after the show on Mondays.
We hang out in the voice chat clubhouse. Tom and I get there around 7:30 Central. That's 8:30 Eastern Daylight. Somewhere between 7:30 and 8 o'clock we get there.
Now don't spend money. There's already people in there.
Yeah, there's usually other people there. Just hang out till people show up. We promise we're coming. If you don't have a link to my Discord, it is down below in my Linktree link. There is a Discord invite. So, and that invite should be still good. I try to check it every once in a while. So we'd love to have you and hang out. And you can see what actual goofballs we are in real life. See y'all. Good night.
Bye.